Full time here at the City Ground. It finishes Nottingham Forest 1, Liverpool 1. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. As somebody who wants to see football games being played of a certain intensity and pace and intent and directness, I think both Liverpool and Forest served up a really good game for a neutral today. From the jump, honestly, I think both sides were at it. I think both sides were up for it. I think both sides really have a certain level of respect for each other, as Forest are the only team to actually beat Liverpool in the Prem this season, and obviously Liverpool are the league leaders. So this was always going to be a highly difficult game. Midweek game under the lights. You always knew it was going to end this way. But it was actually Forest who took the lead in this game. And yeah, Liverpool opened this game up with a lot of shots. In fact, none of them went on target. They had more of the ball. But with Forest, you always feel like there is this unpredictability and that there's always a chance in them. And the goal that Chris Wood scores today is just classical counterattacking play. From their own half, into Elanga's feet, one look up, pass in behind, Chris Wood, touch, finish. I think 3 passes, 3 touches, goal. It's simple. Forest are never going to be a team that pass you off they don't pass you to death. They're not going to pass you 1,000 times and create some goal like Guardiola's Barcelona would. They're not that kind of side, but they're a side with tremendous pace, especially on either side of Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. They have real running power, real creativity in the form of Gibbs White, and they have a guy up front and Chris Wood, who at the moment, you feel like he's going to score a goal every single time he steps on a pitch. He is so red hot in terms of in front of goal, in terms of clinicality. And when it kind of fell to his feet, Konate's out of position, Trent's out of position, Van Dijk had positioned himself to be facing the ball, but Chris Wood's just kind of behind him. And you almost felt goal. Alisson, I think I read today, out of the last 15 shots he's faced, 9 of them have gone in. Now, I don't know if that speaks so much as to Alisson maybe looking a lot weaker since he came back from injury, or the fact that Liverpool are only conceding high quality chances, basically, or like screamers if you're talking about the Lisandro Martinez goal. I'm not 100% sure, but the minute Chris Wood picked up the ball in that area, you just always felt like he was going to bury it. And of course, he did. 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. Now, Liverpool were frustrating in that first half in particular. And in the second half, it was kind of more of the same. But I want to give, again, massive credit to Arne Slot, who continues to show how good of a in-game manager he is. And I think there's one thing, right? Setting up your team well, preparing them well in the week ahead, choosing the right players. I think that's all massively important when it comes to managing, right? When it comes to being a coach. But how you're able to change a game on the fly during the match that's what makes a great manager, in my opinion. I look at an Ancelotti, for example, and some people will get onto it tactically, the way his setup is, and I don't know, does he have a recognizable style of play? That I'll leave that up for you guys to decide. But one thing for me over the years that has made Ancelotti such an elite, especially knockout football manager, is his ability to change it up on the fly, to change a game over 90 minutes. I think Arne Slot is of a similar ilk. Today, looking at how weak Konate was, and I think Konate, honestly, since he came back from his injury, I think he looks off the pace. I think he's late to react at the right moments. He was completely caught out of position for Chris Wood's goal. He hooks him, but you would think, oh, he's going to hook him for another center back. No, what he did, he brings Ryan Gravenberch back in the center back, which is something he did against Fulham when he was chasing a result, and he actually ended up getting it. Drops Gravenberch in, and he brings on Diogo Jota, a center forward. The other substitution, Robertson. Struggling this season, man. It's clear he's the weak link in this team. It's clear he's on the decline. Brings on Tsimikas. Within 30 seconds, Tsimikas corner, Diogo Jota header, goal, 1-1. The proof's in the puds. That's management right there. That's how you change a game. That's how you give your team the best opportunity to get a result. Make the right decisions during the game. Jota, man. This guy, right? I can't think of many forwards at that height that I've seen that are that deadly in the air. I always say Jota, for me, he reminds me of when Man United had Chicharito. Different players, of course, but in terms of like, both of them are not the most physically dominant. They're not the tallest. They're not the most technical, to be honest. I don't think Jota is an incredibly gifted footballer with the ball at his feet. Neither was Chicharito, to be honest. I always used to say about Chicharito, I absolutely loved him, but you take him outside of the 6-yard box, it's like playing with 10, let's be real. But with the two of them, the minute the ball kind of gets in the area, that dangerous area, the 6-yard box, 18-yard box, they just come alive. Their instincts are ridiculous. They're natural-born goal scorers, and they're tremendous finishers. Left foot, right foot, headers, it doesn't matter. Johnny on the spot. That's the way to describe both of them. And it's crazy that a player like Jota is kind of on the bench that Liverpool can just kind of call upon whenever they need a moment. Some might even say maybe he needs to be starting because he just generates so many chances with his movement and then ends up usually finishing them. I always say, look, Salah is Liverpool's best player and he's most definitely their best attacker. But if a chance is falling in the box to one guy, one-on-one against the keeper, you need someone to bury it. Jota's the first player I want that the chance to fall to if I'm a Liverpool fan. Because he's the most natural goal scorer in this team. He just knows where the goal is. And yeah, I give him massive credit because he completely changed this game. And on a different day, Jota walks away from this game with a hat-trick. And it's only because of the goalkeeper, Sels, who, for my reckoning, is probably the goalkeeper of the season in the Prem. But tonight, oh my God, the saves that this guy was pulling out. In particular, the last one, I think it came against Gakpo, where it's literally curling bottom corner. In fact, it even takes a deflection. It's destined for the bottom corner. And he pulls out this save. Honestly, it reminded me of David De Gea a few years back at Manchester United. It was an incredible save. But on the night, he must have had 2, 3, 4 big stops that on a different day, Liverpool finish. On a different day, Liverpool walk out of this game with a win. Now, that different day, it comes if Salah's on form. Now, let's keep it a buck. Let's say it how it is. Salah, the last 3 games, has not been on it. Against Man United, I thought personally he was very poor. Against Spurs, I thought he was very poor. And I thought tonight it was the worst game of the 3. Now, people will counteract that and say, yeah, but look, he scored against United. He was putting chances on a play for McAllister and stuff like that. Even today, he could have scored a few. Yeah, duh. Salah is an incredibly dangerous goal-scoring threat. And he's just a productive threat in general. You can't sleep with Salah around you because he could play the worst game ever and yet almost always come away with a goal. Even today, on a different day with better form, he was bearing a few of those chances. If his first touch is a bit slicker tonight, he's probably creating a chance for someone. He's probably getting past his fullback. But let's be real, tonight, Nico Williams played an incredible game, and a large part of that is due to the fact that Salah was largely ineffective against him. So that's the reality here. Liverpool are they're a tremendous side. They're a brilliant side, so many options, so many brilliant X-factor players, as I call them. But they are still a side hugely dependent on Mohamed Salah's production. The numbers speak for themselves. I believe it's almost 65-70% of all of Liverpool's goals in the Prem have been contributed in one way or another by Salah. So they have great players, but they are still a team in terms of offensive output, largely living and dying by Salah's production. So when he's going to have off games like today against Spurs, against United, it's not a coincidence that his team is suffering because of that. They need him. So that's really a takeaway from that. Another one, right? This guy Murillo on Forest. Take a bow, man. Take a bow. I recognized him last year. I noticed him last season for the first time. And he immediately caught my eye because he has this habit of picking up the ball, sometimes in his own penalty box, and twisting and weaving his way to the other team's opposition penalty box. He's a center back. The way he carries the ball, the bravery he shows, sometimes today, he took a shot from 30 yards out today. He's a bit of a psychopath. And you know what it is, right? You always have your center backs like your Van Dijks, your Piqués, your Rios. They're more the cool customer, right? But I always have a big appreciation for the other center backs that are a bit more local, if you want to call it that. They have a bit more of a crazy side to them. And for me, Murillo is just that. Like some of the things he does. Clearly, by the way, him and Milinkovic have full license by Nuno Espirito Santo to just boot it up the pitch if need be. Honestly, forget all the playing out from the back. If you're in trouble, clear that shit. And I respect that because I've seen Southampton, I've seen Brighton, I've seen so many teams in the Prem over the last 3 years literally shoot themselves in the foot because every manager and their dog these days wants to be Pep Guardiola. Nah, man, if you're in trouble, don't risk it. Clear it down the pitch. Murillo and Milinkovic must have done that about 1,000 times today. But Milinkovic, man, he's old school. He's not afraid to put his head where other people are afraid to put their feet. He's brave. He's very intelligent as well, too, in terms of how he anticipates movement, in terms of how he wins his challenges. And he's also very technically proficient. I think we're looking at one of the best young center backs in the Premier League and a guy that's going to continue growing year on year. And his partnership with Milinkovic, who arguably might be the best signing of the season this year, he's been so influential for Forest. That's a reason why Forest are where they are. They have top players, in my opinion, overperforming their natural level this season. But that spine of Milinkovic, of Murillo, and of Sels in goal, it's their own little Bermuda Triangle, man. It's an incredible defense, and it's one that's frustrated Liverpool massively today. Now, Liverpool will be annoyed, but I think at the same time, too, with everything taken into account, it's not a bad result. You have to respect what Forest are doing this year, man. At this point in January, middle of January, the position in the league doesn't lie. You can't fluke where you are in the middle of January. You're there because you deserve to be there. So I think you got to give massive credit to Nuno, who, if I had a vote, I would vote him manager of the year. You have to give a massive credit to the Forest players. You have to give a massive credit to everyone who was in charge of their summer window, of everything. The way they're playing, they deserve to be where they are. So going to the City ground, getting a draw. Look, obviously you want to win every game. It's not the worst result on paper, ever. Let's be real. But it is now 3 games, well, technically 2 in the Prem, but it's 3 games now for Liverpool where they have been frustrated and they haven't come away with a win. United, Spurs, and today Forest. I think today was their best performance out of the 3, but it's still another game without a win. Now, is this a chink in the armor? Is this like cause for concern? Is it maybe Liverpool need to approach the window? Or is it just a bump in the road? I'm curious to know what you guys think in the comment section below. I think there's truth in both metrics, to be honest with you. Could Liverpool strengthen this window? Absolutely. I think David Ornstein reported that they did have some interest in Kvaratskhelia, who today basically officially joined PSG. Could they do with another attacking option? Perhaps. I think, look, Darwin Nunez is clearly not a priority in Slot's plans anymore. Chiesa can't seem to buy minutes, which is really concerning, to be honest, because a game like today you would think is a game where he's given an opportunity to change the game. He wasn't called upon whatsoever. So maybe, definitely a left back as well too. Huge cause for concern there. But also, I don't think it's time to ring the alarm bells. I still think Liverpool are the best team in the league. I still think they will win the league. And I still think it's a long season where eventually it'll all work out for them, in my personal opinion. And also, I'll be real, I just don't know if there's anyone that can seriously challenge this team. Like, yes, it's one thing dropping points, but if no one's going to consistently capitalize on them and push their standards and push themselves as actual title contenders, I find it really difficult to get that worried about these kinds of performance or these kinds of results, to be honest with you. Like, let's look at around the league. City today, they dropped a 2-0 lead. Brentford equalized in the last minute. To be honest, City have been out of the title race for time now, but today is just the final nail in the coffin. Chelsea, at one point, maybe people were hypothesizing, could they have a run? Well, Chelsea, they haven't won their last 5 games in the Prem. And if Newcastle win tomorrow, Newcastle go in 4th. So Chelsea are not winning the league either. As much respect as I have for Forest, and I think they are very, very serious in terms of their Champions League prospects. I think they could 1000% make top 4. Winning the league, I'm not convinced. I got to see it to believe it. That leaves Arsenal, who at the time of writing are 7 points behind Liverpool. They play tomorrow in the North London Derby, but of course after that game they will have a game in hand. So let's say 7 points. That's not uncatchable. You can catch a team 7 points ahead of you very easily if you're a great side. Arsenal are a good side. Are they a side that I think will make up the ground on Liverpool this year? I don't think so. I mean, I literally said their season is over a few weeks ago in terms of winning trophies. Mathematically, it's entirely possible, but do I trust Jota? Do I trust Trossard? Do I trust Martinelli? Do I trust Havertz in the form that he's in? I don't trust them to consistently capitalize on every single slip-up Liverpool do. And that's why I ultimately think, yes, the results aren't great. And I don't think Liverpool, when it's all said and done, I think they will win the league, but will they go down as like a classic title-winning side? Will they go down as one of the best title winners I've ever seen? Not particularly. I think there's actually club sides in the past that haven't won the league that were probably better than this iteration of Liverpool. That's not taking away from them. You win the league, you're a damn good side. But it's not like the most vintage Premier League title-winning team I've ever seen in my life. But do they have enough to get over the line? I do think so. As for Forest, I give you guys so much credit, man. They are giving me massive Leicester City vibes. Not in terms of, I think they're going to win the league at the end of the day, but before this game, they had accrued as many points at this stage of the season as Leicester had in theirs. And you look at the principles in which each are built off. Strong defensive identity, winning their duels in midfield, pace on either side, a bagsman up front, a bit of creativity in one guy. I think this team is serious. I think they can seriously make a run at this top 4. And at the moment, forget about making a run. Other teams need to catch Forest. It's not like Forest are in the mix. City need to look up at Forest. Chelsea need to look up at Forest. Newcastle need to look up at Forest. Forest are looking down at all of these clubs, and rightfully so. They are the story of the season at the moment. They have so many feel-good players in terms of you just want to root for them. Gibbs White, man, the whole story about leaving Wolves, and everybody thought it was the dumbest decision ever. Now he's I think he's vice captain, but he's leading Forest to a Champions League push. Chris Wood, I've known about Chris Wood since like 2010. He's the hottest striker in the Prem at the moment, bar Isaac. Hudson-Odoi ruled out at Chelsea. Elanga ruled out at Man United. It's incredible stories from top to bottom. I really hope they do it. And it's a big result today. Drawing at home to Liverpool. That's a serious result, man. But let me know in the comment section down below. Is there a cause for concern for Liverpool? Do you think Arsenal can seriously catch them? Are Forest stapled top 4 contenders this year? Do you believe it yet? Let me know all down in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe. As always, close to 40K. Let's get there by the end of the week. I'll be back tomorrow for the North London Derby review, and then back on Thursday for the Man United vs Southampton review. That being said, it's been your boy Lyes, and we'll see you next time. Peace.